Guys, I got a new phone. Yeah, so soon after getting the first gen Moto G. Well, that is because the third gen Moto G has come out and has fixed a lot of the problems that I've had with the first gen and the second gen. If you recall, the first and the second gen were basically the same phone, except the second gen had a better camera and a bigger screen with the same resolution. So it really didn't, it wasn't really much of an upgrade. It was, in fact, in my opinion, it was a downgrade. The only thing that was better on that was the camera was a little bit better. On this, drastic improvement. The battery is much better. There's a 2 gig option for RAM, 16 gig, 2 gigs of RAM, that's exactly what this one is. And the camera has been improved quite a bit. It's the same camera that is in the Nexus 6. So, without further ado, I think we should give this a camera test. I think it was worth an upgrade based on the camera alone. Plus, I was getting annoyed with blurry pictures at punk shows and things like that. So here's a typical around the room shot of just messy stuff everywhere. Yay, networking books. So then you look in a dark area, like over by the computer. It's probably going to get pretty grainy over here. These are how I cover my keyboards. Let's try a slightly lighter area. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. Cool, so there's your indoor test. Let's go outdoors. Kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Yaw. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty. There he is. There's my big boy. Anyhow, let's do the outdoor test. So we're starting with the backyard scene like I usually do. Pan over here. Look at some moths and butterflies and stuff. We actually have stuff in these pots here now. There's a big holly tree. And the shrubs. Oh, the butterfly's back. Let's see what zooming is like on this. It's going to be the same. I'm using the Motorola camera app, by the way, so it's probably going to sound the same, largely, and look the same. Got a lot of butterflies today. That's good to see. Let's check out the summer foliage in the pond and watch the frogs run away from me. Yep, there they go. Couple of fish in there, as you can see. It's just some goldfish. So, with this camera, if you've seen how the Nexus 6 performs, I'd say that's pretty much what to expect out of this. It finally shoots in 1080p, unlike the last two generations of Moto G. So that means it's, you know, an acceptable resolution, I think, for uploading videos to the internet. 720p was pretty good, but it was a little lackluster, I think. If you're going to go HD, you might as well do 1080p. So, you know, there you have it. Camera time. Alright, so what do I think of the third gen Moto G so far? I really like it. It's very nice. It actually feels like a significant upgrade, unlike the Moto G second gen. That thing felt It felt like literally they just blew up the first gen a little bit and gave it a slightly better camera. And the main issue I had with that one was battery life. Because literally what they did was they took the same hardware that was in the first gen Moto G, stuck it in the second gen Moto G, blew the screen up a little bit, kept it the same resolution, so it ate more power with a bigger screen on the same battery, which was just a bad idea. So I ended up getting the first gen, downgrading, and having a much better experience with that. Because I did like the size of that phone, but also the battery life was just much better. They've improved that on this phone. The battery life is good. They've upped the battery size for the type of screen you have. I believe it's still a 720p screen. The camera's 1080p now. It should take better photos that are probably less blurry and low light. I haven't tested that yet, but it probably does, considering it uses the same camera that is in the Nexus 6. And the lighting out here is terrible today. That's better. It just seems like it's actually worth the upgrade this time. I went ahead and spent the extra money to get the 16 gigabytes of storage and 2 gigs of RAM one, just simply for the RAM, actually. I put a 32 gig SD card in this phone for storage otherwise. So, seems pretty nice. You can also get an 8 gig capacity with 1 gig of RAM. I'm sure that's the one that's probably going to be sold in stores and on, let's say, somebody's, a phone carrier's website, like Republic Wireless or something like that, would have something like that. They only just got the second gen in, so I don't know when they're going to get the third gen. Maybe next year. So, I went ahead and got this unlocked. I, of course, it uses AT&T, so, you know, there you go. The 2 gig, the 16 gig, 2 gigs of RAM version. And I think that 2 gigs of RAM that's partially why I upgraded to this phone, is because they offered that option. So it's a much better, it'll have a much longer lifespan that way, unlike the first 2 generations that only had a gig of RAM. So having 2 gigs of RAM is definitely a positive thing, so that's cool. So that's my impressions of the Moto G and a test of the 2 cameras. It's been the front-facing camera and the rear-facing one. I think both of them shoot 1080p. I have it set to shoot that way. So, there you go. This is the camera test of the Moto G 3rd generation, and sort of some brief thoughts I had on the phone. I'd say it's definitely worth a purchase. Motorola really is making the best phones right now, as far as Android goes. Nobody else can really top them in my book right now, especially in this affordable phone market. I really didn't... I wasn't favored towards Android until this affordable phone market really hit the scene. And it's really taken off with phones like this and the Alcatel, some of the stuff that Alcatel's doing, and you know, some other things. So, before I continue rambling on forever, I'm going to end this video. So I hope you enjoyed this camera test of the Moto G 3rd Gen. I would say it's worth buying one of these if you're thinking about it. So, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.